Welcome back. Let's dive into something that's been at the heart of heated discussions for decades: Islam in France. You've probably heard snippets about it in the news, debates over laws, protests, or maybe even those viral moments where someone says, France is not what it used to be. But here's the thing, what is France today? And how does one of its fastest growing communities fit into this picture? Did you know that Muslims make up nearly 9% of France's population? That's around 6 million people. This makes France home to Western Europe's largest Muslim community. But numbers alone don't tell the full story. What we see today is a complex interplay between history, culture, law, and identity. So before we go any further, I want to ask you this. When you think of French identity, what comes to mind? Baguettes and berets or something deeper? Like values of liberty, equality, and fraternity? Keep that thought in mind as we explore how Muslims in France are shaping and being shaped by the nation. The conversation around Islam in France isn't just about religion, it's about belonging, integration, and the evolving definition of Frenchness. Are these concepts compatible, or do they clash irreconcilably? Historical context. Now, let's rewind the clock a bit. The relationship between France and the Islamic world didn't just start yesterday. It stretches back centuries to the Crusades, trade routes, and colonial empires. During the medieval period, interactions were often marked by conflict, but also by cultural exchange. For instance, scholars from the Islamic Golden Age influenced European thinkers during the Renaissance through translated works on mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Fast forward to the 19th and early 20th centuries, and you'll find another chapter unfolding: colonialism. Regions like Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco became integral parts of France's overseas territories. These colonies weren't just sources of raw materials, they also supplied labor. After World War II, France was rebuilding, and guess who played a critical role? Laborers from North Africa and other Muslim-majority countries, they came to work in factories, mines, and construction sites, laying the foundation for modern France. Over time, these workers brought their families, creating vibrant communities across the country. By the 1970s, Islam had firmly established itself as the second-largest religion in France. And here's an interesting tidbit. Many mosques you see today were originally converted churches or industrial spaces. This historical context helps us understand why Islam in France is so deeply intertwined with the nation's socio-economic fabric. If you're enjoying this journey so far, don't forget to like and share this video. Your support helps us share these incredible stories with a global audience. Now back to the show. Demographics and growth. So how big is the Muslim community now? Estimates suggest there are roughly 6 million Muslims in France, though exact figures can be tricky because France doesn't collect data based on ethnicity or religion. It's part of their commitment to secularism, or laïcité. But we do know that cities like Paris, Lyon, and Marseille have significant concentrations of Muslim France, with some neighborhoods boasting populations that are majority Muslim. What's driving this growth? 3 main factors: immigration, higher birth rates among Muslim families, and conversions. Yes, you heard that right, conversions. While many assume Islam spreads only through migration, thousands of native-born French citizens have embraced the faith over the years. Why? Well, that's a question worth exploring later, but suffice it to say, diversity within the Muslim community is vast. From Sunni to Shia, practicing to secular, every individual brings their own unique story. For example, consider the ethnic diversity within the Muslim population. Algerians, Moroccans, Tunisians, Senegalese, and Turks all contribute distinct traditions and practices. Yet, despite these differences, they share a common experience of navigating life in a country that sometimes views them through a lens of suspicion due to France's racism. How does this shape their sense of identity? Cultural contributions. And speaking of stories, let's talk about contributions. When you hear French culture, do you immediately think of wine, cheese, and haute couture? Sure, those are iconic, but they're not the whole picture. Did you know that dishes like couscous and taginis are staples in French households today? Or that designers inspired by modest fashion trends have revolutionized global runways? Even music genres like reggae, which originated in Algeria, have found a home in France's eclectic soundscape. But it's not just food and fashion. Think about festivals celebrating Eid al-Fitr or Ramadan markets bustling with life. These traditions add layers to France's multicultural fabric. And then there are individuals, like football star Kylian Mbappé or philosopher Tariq Ramadan, whose heritage reflects the rich tapestry of Muslim France. Isn't it fascinating how cultures blend without losing their essence? Take cinema, for instance. Directors like Abdelatif Kechiche, Blue is the Warmest Color, and Huda Benyamina, Divines, have brought Muslim narratives to mainstream audiences, challenging stereotypes and showcasing universal themes of love, struggle, and resilience. Art has always been a powerful tool for bridging divides, and these creators are no exception. If you're enjoying this video and want to support the channel, consider shopping through our affiliate links in the description. It won't cost you anything extra, but it helps us cover the costs of creating more great content for you. Thank you. Secularism and laïcité. Here's where things get a little tricky. To understand contemporary tensions, we need to unpack laïcité. This principle of strict separation between church and state dates back to 1905, born out of conflicts between Catholics and Republicans. At its core, laïcité aims to ensure neutrality in public institutions. Sounds reasonable, right? But applying it to religious minorities isn't always straightforward. Take the infamous hijab ban France implemented in schools since 2004. Supporters argue it upholds secular values, while critics say it disproportionately targets Muslim women. Then there's the burkini controversy, remember those headlines? For many, these policies feel less about neutrality and more about policing religious expression. Where do we draw the line between freedom and regulation? And how does France racism factor into these debates? Consider this. Would similar bans apply if a Christian cross necklace or Jewish kippah were deemed too conspicuous? The selective enforcement raises questions about double standards. Some argue that laïcité intended to foster unity has instead created divisions. Contemporary challenges. Unfortunately, challenges extend beyond policy. Rising levels of Islamophobia and discrimination against Muslims have become undeniable realities. Studies show that Muslims face higher unemployment rates, housing discrimination, and social exclusion compared to their non-Muslim counterparts. Add to that negative media portrayals, linking terrorism to Islam, and you've got a recipe for misunderstanding. After high-profile attacks like Charlie Hebdo and the Nice truck attack, security concerns intensified. Governments responded with measures aimed at curbing extremism, but these often blur the line between protecting citizens and profiling entire communities. How do we balance safety with respect for civil liberties? And what message does this send to young Muslims growing up in France? Moreover, the rise of far-right political movements has exacerbated tensions. Figures like Marine Le Pen have capitalized on fears surrounding immigration and Islam in France, framing Muslims as outsiders who threaten national identity. Such rhetoric fuels France's racism and perpetuates cycles of marginalization. Integration and identity. On the flip side, let's highlight resilience. Despite obstacles, many Muslim communities actively strive to integrate while preserving their cultural identities. Mosques serve as hubs for spiritual guidance, education, and social services. Schools teach children both Arabic and French, bridging worlds. Community organizations host events that celebrate shared heritage. Generational differences also play a role. Older immigrants may cling tightly to traditions, while younger generations navigate dual identities with creativity. Some wear hijabs proudly, others choose not to. Is integration a one-size-fits-all process? Not really. It's messy, evolving, and deeply personal. One fascinating aspect is the emergence of hybrid cultural expressions. Young artists, musicians, and writers fuse elements of Islamic tradition with contemporary French aesthetics, creating something entirely new. This blending reflects a broader truth. Identity isn't static. It's fluid, dynamic, and constantly redefined. Political and social dynamics. When it comes to representation, progress has been slow but steady. Politicians like Rachida Dati and Najat Vallaud-Belkacem broke barriers as prominent Muslim women in leadership roles. Yet political parties remain divided on issues related to Islam in France. On one end, far-right groups push anti-immigration rhetoric. On the other, grassroots movements advocate for equality and justice. Social media has emerged as a powerful tool for amplifying voices. Hashtags like #HandsOffMyHijab trend globally, showcasing solidarity among activists, fighting against discriminatory policies like the hijab ban France. Could digital platforms redefine civic engagement moving forward? Another promising development is the rise of interfaith initiatives. Organizations bringing together Christians, Jews, and Muslims aim to foster dialogue and dispel misconceptions. These efforts remind us that coexistence is possible, even in the face of deep-seated prejudices. Youth perspectives. Young people hold the key to the future. Many navigate conflicting expectations from family, society, and themselves. Some channel frustration into activism, organizing protests, or creating art that challenges stereotypes. Others find solace in online communities, sharing experiences that resonate worldwide. One recurring theme: resilience. Despite facing France's racism, they refuse to be silenced. Their stories remind us that identity isn't static. It's fluid, dynamic, and constantly redefined. As one young activist put it, "We are French, but we're also Muslim. Why should we have to choose?" Global comparisons. How does France stack up against neighbors, like Germany or the UK? Each country approaches Islam in Europe differently. Germany emphasizes multiculturalism, while the UK leans toward accommodation. France's rigid adherence to laïcité, however, sets it apart. Are there lessons to learn from others? Perhaps. International networks also influence local dynamics, connecting diaspora communities across borders. Looking ahead, what's next for Muslim France? Dialogue seems essential. Whether through education, policy reform, or community initiatives, fostering mutual understanding will pave the way forward. Imagine a France where diversity isn't seen as a threat but as strength. A place where everyone feels included, regardless of background. Sounds idealistic, sure, but isn't that the dream behind liberté, égalité, fraternité? To wrap up, we've covered a lot of ground, from history and demographics to challenges and hopes for the future. The debate over Islam in France is far from over, but it's clear that Muslims are woven into the very fabric of French society. As we reflect on these conversations, let's remember that identity isn't zero-sum. Embracing diversity enriches us all. So, I leave you with this final question: how can we build bridges instead of walls? Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, salam friend, and stay curious. The journey doesn't end here. Subscribe now and be part of our next great adventure. For more breathtaking travel stories and captivating animations, explore our other videos on the right. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.